Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel, which name is Analytics Pro. Here under this playlist guys, we are going to cover only SQL concepts from scratch. In the previous tutorial guys, we have studied about some analytics functions. I hope now you guys are cleared with the analytics functions, that how we can use in SQL. And in today's tutorial guys, we will talk about some more advanced functions in SQL. So we will start our tutorial with this coalesce functions, which comes under this advanced functions category. So let's begin our class. So this coalesce function is used to handle null values in our database query. Basically guys, this function returns first non-null value in the list. And here is the example guys. Here I have used coalesce function. And firstly I have taken 3 null values. After that the fourth value in the list is Shubham. So if I use coalesce function guys, so it will give you the Shubham result. And now let's understand the same thing with practical in SSMS. So let's move towards SSMS screen. So here we have entered in SSMS screen. And now let's try the same query here under this SSMS. So I'll simply write select. And now guys, I am using the function name which is coalesce. So here I will write my function name which is coalesce. And here I am creating a list. Let's say my first value would be null, comma. And now I will take my second value which is also null. In a similar way guys, I will take third value here which is also null. And finally I am writing one more value, let's say Shubham, and bracket close. And if you want to give alias to this query, so simply type as keyword and you can write anything here, let's say list. So this is the query guys, and now let me select this query and hit execute. So here we guys can see it's returning Shubham. So as I already said guys, this function return first non-null value in the list. So here first non-null value is Shubham. And now guys, let's make some changes here under this query. So this time I will remove this first null from here and I will take any value, let's say David. So here under this query guys, we can clearly see our first value is David and rest two values are null. And now if I try to execute this query guys, so it will return David because it finds David as a first non-null value. In a similar way guys, if you put it null here again, and if you type any second non-null value, let's say Ashish. So if I try to execute this query guys, so it will return Ashish. So here under this query guys, this Ashish as a first non-null value in this list. So I hope now you guys are clear with this coalesce function. And now guys, let's use same coalesce function with table. So here I have imported one table which name is coal. So I will simply open my table guys with select star from table name which is coal. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So here is our table guys which name is coal. So here we have taken IDs, names, sales, quantity and price. So before apply this coalesce function guys, let's understand the data set. So if you see here under this sales column guys, so the first value is null and the second non-null value is 2000. So if we use coalesce function, it will return 2000 because first non-null value is 2000. And now let's talk about the second record. So here we guys can clearly see the first value is null, second value is also null and the first non-null value here under this price. So as a result guys, it will return 40,000. So let's apply coalesce function and see the result. So I will simply use select. So here I want to fetch only this ID column. So I will simply write ID. And now I will put it comma here and use my function name which is coalesce. And now let's start this bracket. And here under this bracket guys, I need to take the column's name where I want to apply this coalesce. So firstly I will take the sales column here, comma, our next column name is quantity and our third column name is price and bracket close. And finally I need to give the table name which is coal. So I will simply write from keyword and write my table name. And if you want to give alias to this query, so simply write as, let's say list. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So here we guys can see the output. So before understand this result guys, let me also open this coal table. So I will execute both the queries together. And now let's try to understand this result. So as I already said guys, here first non-null value is 2000. So as a result guys, we can clearly see 2000 in the first row. Similar way, here first non-null value is 40,000. So as a result guys, we can clearly see 40,000. And here first non-null value is 5,000. So as a result guys, we can clearly see 5,000. So I hope you guys are clear with this coalesce function. If you guys still have any doubt, so please watch this video again and try to practice this coalesce function. And now guys, let's talk some more about this coalesce function. So let's go back to the PPT guys. And one important point guys which you need to keep in mind. Column data type should be the same, which we are taking here under this coalesce function. So if you observe it here guys, I have taken all the same column which we have the same data type, which is integer. And if I try to take any varchar data type, so this coalesce function will not work, because whatever the columns you have taken here under the coalesce function, all the data type should be the same. So let's try with this varchar data type, let's say names. And now if I try to execute this query guys, so here we guys can clearly see it's returning us an error. It clearly says converting the data type and varchar to float. So that's the important point guys which you need to keep in mind while applying this coalesce function. So all the data type should be the same here under this coalesce function. So if you want to apply coalesce function on varchar data type, so all the columns should be the varchar. I hope now you guys are clear with this important point. And now let me select this query and hit execute again. And now guys, let's learn one more way of using this coalesce function. So before that guys, let me select this table and hit execute. And now let's learn how we can replace this null value with 0 with the help of coalesce function. So I will simply use select command. And now I want to see id. And simply I will use my function name which is coalesce. And now let's start bracket. And here I want to take that column name which value I want to replace. So firstly I want to replace value of sales column. So I'll simply write sales and put it comma. And here you need to write that value which you want to replace. So I want to replace all the values with 0 and bracket close. And simply I will give alias, let's say list. You guys can take any other name. And finally I will write my table name which is col. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So here we guys can clearly see whatever the nulls we have in the sales column, it replaced with 0. And if you want to give alias as sales here, so simply type sales. And now let me select this query again and hit execute. So see guys, whatever the nulls we have in the sales column, it replaced with 0. And let's suppose guys, if you want to replace any other column value, so what you need to do guys, you simply need to put it comma here and press enter and simply write your coalesce function. And under coalesce function guys, you need to take your next column name, let's say quantity. And quantity value I replace with 0 and put it comma here and simply close this bracket. And again I will write the alias with as keyword, let's say as quantity. And finally I will select this query from here and hit execute. So see guys, here under this quantity column are all the null values replaced with this 0. So this is the another way guys of using this coalesce function. I hope now you guys are clear with all the concept of coalesce function, in which scenario and how we need to use this coalesce function. And now guys, let's talk about one more SQL function which name is null. So let's go back to the PPT guys. And here we have one more point of coalesce function. We can also replace null with user defined value, which we have already seen with practical, that how we can replace any value with coalesce function. So our next function name is null. This function is also used to handle null values in database query. So if you observe it here guys, this is null function is exact like coalesce function. Here definitions are same. Both the functions helps to handle the null values. So the question is that guys, when we need to use coalesce function and when we need to use is null, and what is the difference between coalesce and is null? So definitely guys, we will also talk about the differences. But before the difference guys, let's understand this is null function. This is null function returns first non-null values in the list, just like a coalesce function. And here we guys can see the example. Here I have taken is null function and only first value is null and another value is non-null value which is Shubham. And one more important point guys, columns data type should be the same, which are taking here under this is null function. So there are a lot of similarities between this coalesce function and is null. So let's try is null function here under this SSMS screen. So from here guys, I'll click here on this new query and here I am creating a small list. Let's say select and then I will use is null function. So I'll simply write is null and bracket start. So here I am taking first value as null and my second value let's say Shubham and bracket close. And here I will give alias with as list. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So here we guys can clearly see it return Shubham because it finds the first non-null value is Shubham and the first value is null. And now guys, let me simply apply this isNull function on table. So I'll simply write my query, which is select star from our table name, which is coal. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So here we guys can see the same table. And now let's apply this isNull function with this coal table, which also return first non-null value. So I will start with this select, and here I'll take the column name, which is id, and finally I'm using my function name, which is null. So here I'm taking the columns name guys, let's say sales, comma, quantity, and bracket close, and finally I'll give the alias, let's say as sales underscore quantity, and last but not the least I will simply write my table name, which is coal. And now let me select this query and hit execute. I know guys, this time you are confusing with this result. So now let me select both the query together and let's try to understand this result. So here we can clearly see the first value here under this sales column is null. So first non-value it's find 2000. So it returned 2000. And one more thing guys, which we need to observe, we have passed only two arguments. The first one is sales column, the second one is quantity column. We have not entered this price column. So if you check the second records, it's also getting us an null, because it's not find any non-null value between this sales and quantity column. And now let's talk about the third row. So here output is 5000, because here first non-null value is 5000. In a similar way, if you check the next record, so here answer is 4000, because first non-null value is 4000. So in this way guys, this isNull function is just performed like a collage function. It return first non-null value. So the question is that guys, why I have not passed this price column here under this isNull function? And now let me give you the answer. So here answer is, we can only pass two arguments here under this isNull function. We can't add more than two arguments in isNull function. And if you try to pass more than two arguments, it throws an error. And this is the major difference guys between collage function and isNull. Under collage function guys, you can pass more and more arguments. But here under this isNull function guys, you can only pass two arguments. So let's go back to the SSM screen and try to pass more arguments here under this isNull function, and let's check the error. So this time guys, I am going to pass more than two arguments. So I'll simply take this price column, and now let me select this query and hit execute. So see guys, it clearly throws an error. isNull function requires two arguments. And now let me remove this price column from here. So I hope you guys are clear with the difference of collage and null. And now let's learn how we can replace the value with this isNull function. So here I will write my query, let's say select, the column name is id, comma, and now I will write my function name, let's say is null, and bracket start. So let's suppose guys, I want to replace my value here under the sales column with 0. So I will simply write my column name, let's say sales, and the value which I want to replace, let's say 0, and bracket close. And finally I'll give the alias, let's say as sales. And last but not the least, I will write my table name, which is coal. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So see guys, we have replaced all the null values here under the sales column with 0. And if you also want to replace any other column value, so again you need to write the function name and the column name and the value which you want to replace. And now guys, what I will do, I will simply put it comma here and press enter. And simply write my function name, which is null. And here I will take my column name, which is quantity. And this time let's say my quantity value I want to replace with 1. So I'll put it 1. And simply use as keyword and write my column name, let's say quantity. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So here we can clearly see our null values is replaced with 1 here under this quantity column. So I hope now you guys are clear with this collage function and isNull function. You guys can use both the function, but the differences is that under isNull function you can only pass two arguments. And now let's talk about one more advanced function of SQL, which name is null if. The null if function returns null if two expressions are equal, otherwise it returns the first expression. And now let's understand with this example. So here I have used null if function and I have taken two expressions which both are same, like 25 and 25. So if I use null if function guys, so it return me null because both the values are same. And if either of the one value is mismatched, so it returns the first expression, which is 25. So let's try this null if function with practical. And now let me click here on this new query. So here I am creating list with null if function. So I'll simply write select and here I will use my function name, which is null if. And under bracket guys, I am taking both the values are same, let's say 25 and 25, and bracket close. And let's give alias to this query, let's say as list. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So null if function says guys, if you have both the expressions are equal, it returns null, otherwise first expression. So here under this case, both the values are same, that means both the expressions are same, so that's why it's returned null. And now let me try to change the second expression, let's say 26. And now let me select this query again and hit execute. So here we guys can see it returned 25 because both the arguments are not same. And now guys, let's learn how to use this null if function with table. So here I have already imported that table which name is table_1. So I'll simply write select star from our table name, which is table_1. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So if you check it here guys, here id1 and id2 are same, and names2 are also same. So let's apply a null if function in both the columns. So I'll simply write select my function name, which is null if, and bracket start. And simply I will take my column name. So firstly we will apply on this integer column, let's say id, comma id2. So I have taken both the columns here, and now let me give alias to this query, let's say as list. And last but not the least, here I'll give the table name, let's say from table_1. And now let me select this query and hit execute. So see guys, it's returning null because both the expressions are same. And now let me execute both the queries together. So see guys, here both the values are same, that's why it's returned null. So I hope you guys are clear with this null if function. So here under this tutorial guys, we have only studied coalesce, is null and null if. And in the next tutorial guys, we will talk about some more advanced functions. So stay connected with us and kindly support this channel. And those who are new to this channel, kindly hit the like, share and subscribe. And don't forget to press this bell icon guys, else you will miss an update. And those who wants to learn Power BI or SQL from scratch, so you guys can follow this free YouTube channel, which name is Analytics Pro. And if you scroll it down guys, so here you guys can see we have a full course Power BI playlist where I have explained each and every concept about Power BI in detail. And if you click here on this playlist button guys, so you guys will get to see multiple playlists are here. This is the Power BI full course playlist, and these are the advanced concepts of Power BI where you guys can take the knowledge of advanced concepts of Power BI. And we have this Power BI with SQL playlist where you guys can learn all the concepts of SQL from scratch. So you guys can start your SQL journey with this free YouTube channel. And along with that guys, we have this visualization playlist and we have this DAX expression playlist where we have covered most of the DAX functions from scratch which are majorly used in your projects. And here under this playlist, I am also trying to cover all the differences of DAX functions which is majorly asked in an interviews. And very soon guys, I will add some more playlists so that you guys can take better understanding of the analytical skills. And for the job seekers guys, we have this free Telegram group where I'm keep posting latest Power BI jobs opening, as well as you will also find some latest interview question and answers which recently asked by an interviewer. So you don't need to pay anything to anyone. But those who are looking only live sessions, so we guys also conduct live training and sessions where we prepare candidates from scratch till intermediate level with some scenarios, real-time projects, assignments, notes and so on. And we also provide placement assistance with the help of WhatsApp group where you will get to see some HR emails, contact number and so on. And you guys can also follow us on Insta as well as Facebook. So all the links I will share under the description box. You guys can follow us there. So for free learners guys, you guys can follow this Analytics Pro, and for the live training and sessions, you guys can connect me any of the platform. Thank you so much guys for your more love and support. Keep learning and keep growing. Thank you so much.